Hey guys, and welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we're jumping back to more StoneBlock 3. And yes, today we're automating cooking pots. Hopefully you guys are ready. So today we are jumping back into some more StoneBlock, and boy oh boy, do we have some automation of food to get done. So I went ahead and took down all of the mechanical crafters because I think we need to think about this in a different way. So first things first, I went ahead and went through all of the different foods, and I'm pretty sure I got all of them. I may have missed a couple, but I think I got them all. All of the basic food that need full automation as far as being put inside of a cooking pot. Now, there's a bunch of other micro things that we have to do, like make minced patties, for example, that require the cutting board and then dough and things like that, that we need to use in a cutting board as well. And then not to mention all of the stuff that is related to create, which we'll do separately in its own thing. But for example, melon slices, like we need to feed this melon slices and get these things automated. Now, I want to handle this automation with refined storage. May sound crazy, but refined storage is what I want to use for this particular task, because I think it's going to be best suited for it. Now, thankfully, all I have to do is change a couple of things as far as automation goes to be able to actually automate. Or actually, we could probably just add temporarily and be able to automate a few things here. One being this right here actually can receive an EMCable item instead of receiving the items for, or instead of the pressed silicon, we can actually just use it. This is for refined storage, by the way. This is the crafting recipe that I have to go through in order to get these. So, to get started with this, I do need to craft up a few of these processors. And like I said, this is an EMCable item. This is so much easier than what I have set up. And actually, all we got to do is exchange this as well, change up how we're feeding this items, and then just send the same items through for these processors. I'll just make different patterns for them. So after a little bit of work and a little bit of changing around, I can now request, all I got to do now is just speed up this section over here. I had to shut these off, this off as well. This is not technically doing anything either. So now I just have this set up, and surprisingly yeah, it works. It does work. So I can go ahead and say, hey, I need 10 advanced processors, and it's going to go ahead and send them out, as you can see. It's not supposed to stamp them. Let's not do that. There we go. There we go. And now it's supposed to just send the items. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to go, that's going to go through, and there we go. So it works. They're working now, which is perfect. I think everything's good. I'm just going to go ahead and speed this thing up. I think I'm just going to gear ratio this bad boy. So because I'm going to need a little bit more speed, and I also, instead of just go ahead and gearing it up, I'm actually going to use a speed controller. So I'm setting up another area over here to craft those speed controllers. Yeah, there's a lot of steps involved, but it is going to all pay out in the future. Right now, I'm working on making electric motors, which I should be able to power, and this should be able to create rotational energy just like this. Not as much, but it should be able to, if we put enough of them on here, hopefully we can get it going, and it just uses some RF. So I currently retrofitted this setup, and I'm running it through to be able to make the components for this rotational speed controller. Yeah, it's got to be ran through 5 times. I'm not setting up full automation for it, just setting up temporary automation going back and forth, and then I will set the original setup back up for the rails once I have enough of these, because I'm sure that I won't need many more of these after this process. By the way, it's also not 100% complete craft. So it's only an 80% chance that it will succeed. Otherwise, it starts giving you things like this, gold sheets. Oh, goodness. So after getting that all set up, I have the rotational speed controller that I wanted to set up for this. And this is all just to get refined storage going. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up all the way until... Well, actually, I think I need to be hooked up here instead of the bottom. But I need to get this... I'm going to set this up so that way it spins incredibly fast. You can see like that. Let's turn this down. I basically need to hook into this, then go down like this. That's spinning, and we are spinning the right direction. Then I will speed this up until it's overstressed. And once it's overstressed, there it is. Then I'll just crank it down until it starts up again. And there we go. Now we have the automation sped up quite quick, and I can just make those anytime I need to. So now that I have my refined storage, well, it's time to get started with this mod. Oh boy. So I do have everything set up with AE to autocraft the things for refined storage. For example, deconstructors, constructors. I actually am missing a couple of things, and I finally plugged in everything down here. So I do have everything plugged in. I gotta go over here and let's see. There's a couple of things I am going to need. I need my external storage. So we want to have that on tap. An importer. So we have something to import, and then an exporter. Perfect. So I'm just tossing these, by the way, into random crafters so that way they're incredibly fast. But yeah, look, so we can go ahead and with refined storage, we can craft ourselves an external storage and we can hook that up. Bam, as you can see, it's all crafting incredibly fast now because we have this set up here and the AE. So all I have to do now is hook in like an EMC link, right? Like a compressed EMC link to the back of this, and we will have all of the EMCable items needed for this project. So all I have to do is just fill in any of the food items that we're going to need, and we should be just about ready to go. Now, I've got to get started on some of the automation processes, and thankfully this is also where refined storage is going to come in handy. So what I'm working on currently, now that I have this set up, is I want to try and get every food that is EMCable and get that inside of my storage system here. And then we need to focus on getting all of the EMCable items that these foods contain inside the system. And then start processing all of the little micro crafts, like I said, the things that have to be chopped up and stuff that we can't do that we don't really need to be doing manually. So far, this is all of the EMCable food that we have that's just EMCable, not that it just needs a single craft, because some of these things are just needing to be crafted because they require, like, for example, they just require something very simple, but they may not have an EMC value just because of an onion. Like, for example, this patty, it does have a couple of things because we do have to automate beef patties. But other than that, it's a pretty basic EMC item. But as you can see, it does require like tomatoes, and we need cabbage. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to look through and make sure that we have available in here for every single one of these items. So if all is worked out perfectly, this should be all of the EMCable items needed for not only the ultimate stew, but also the cosmic meatballs. If this is correct, this is awesome because it fits all in here. But I think I'm going to be using refined storage in combination with storage drawers or the functional storage mod. And this is going to be where we store all of the other stuff. So we shouldn't need any physical storage inside the refined storage. We're just using this to manage everything connected. So over here, I have external storage, and that should work. Now, I do need to get this connected into here somewhere. Probably going to pop these up into the top for now. These two drawers and also what they contain. So if I come up here, the only problem with this, there we go. The only problem with this armor is I can't hold shift to like stay suspended in the air. Like I bounce up and down. It's the worst. But okay. Right here. Apparently there's also some easier ways we could potentially set up the rice. I think the rice is working for right now, so long as we keep this on it. Let's see, we put the rice in there, put that in there, that gives it water. And then last but not least, this. Now, I think this is the only two crops that we have to maintain in this fashion. Everything else should be pretty easy to maintain. I'm going to go ahead and remove you. And I can set this right here for right now. Shouldn't matter too much. There we go. And that makes sure these are still running at full capacity. And they do have upgrades in them, so they should be generating a ton. Perfect. So now once I get these linked, we should be able to see this in here. Next thing on my list is I need to create these things. So how do we automate a cutting board? So let's go ahead and get a cutting board real quick, and I will show you how I'm planning on doing this. So all of these are EMCable items for the most part. And I need a dispenser. I think that is how we actually activate it. I can go ahead and use that bow. We can use a knife. So we just have a knife, a diamond knife right here. And I've done this in the past. So hopefully we can get the same thing set up. So we take a cutting board, right? And we place it down on the ground where it's nice and dirty. And we give the dispenser a knife. And then on top, we give it a hopper. And this should be able to send the items. For example, we need melon slices, right? So let's go ahead and take some melon. And we put the melon in the hopper. And that should dispense. And I think I can use a comparator, I believe, to receive the redstone signal that this has. And I could technically send it back to the dispenser. I think I'd do it this way with a repeater. And so this should tick. And it's not quick enough. So let's pull this out. Is the hopper too fast? The hopper's too fast. So what we can also do is just use a timer. When all else fails, a timer is going to be the way that I probably do this anyways. So we'll just have a single timer running on a bunch of these. And every time it does that, it's going to use that knife on this. And we should be fine. And we just got to do this for everything. So pasta is just going to be done on dough. And then what I'm going to do is use a vacuum hopper to actually pick this up and store the items in here into the storage controller, which we're going to use a ender chest, a different colored ender chest, to manage this subnetwork that we're creating. So basically this is going to be the setup in action. So I'm going to go ahead and get, this is the ender chest that we're going to pipe things through, similar to the same way we're doing the other, our other storage network. But this area, we're basically going to have the ender chest here and an ender chest here. I could have put them together, but it's going to be fine being put here. I basically need to take the item collector, lower them down a little bit because they're definitely a little bit high as far as the range. Let's lower this all the way down to as low as it can go. And it's just going to be collecting the items that are here once we put the items inside of the EMC link. So I think overall this will be fine. I think I'm even going to put a filter on them just to make sure they don't collect anything else. Looks like I need to go one more in that direction. Same over here. Just one more in that direction. And they're ready to go. So what do we need to put in here? Well, I think these are the few things we're going to need. We're going to need minced beef. Yeah, I know it sounds gross, but that means we need beef. We need raw pork. So pork, beef, and then we technically need salmon, I believe. Because I think salmon, yeah, has to be done this way. So we need salmon. And last but not least, I think we need pumpkin. Yeah, so pumpkin. So pumpkin, salmon, I'm going to put over here. Pumpkin and salmon. So they're right there. They're getting collected up. Pretty nice. That's going to produce some bone meal, apparently. Interesting. And then over here. Which one did I put this in? This one. And then I'll put pork here. So those should be collecting, and that's going to fill this chest up, of course. They're going to end up going into a drawer that will be infinite. And they are using netherite knives. These have a lot of durability on them, but I'm sure eventually they'll run out. So I have all of my cooking pots laid down, and I've done a few tests. I've done a few tests on them to see how they operate. And I found out that the bowls can only go in to this slot, or go in through the side slots. It's very similar to a furnace. And then the top slot is where everything goes in here. And then I can actually extract out of the back slot here. I don't know if I can extract from any other side, but it doesn't really matter. The main issue though is when I have 2 of these done and then I continue feeding items in, this recipe only needs these 2 items here. So I have a problem, a bit of a problem here. What happens when we have a recipe like this one specifically? What happens when we start feeding it more items? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's going to stop working. So that's kind of unfortunate. So I was thinking I could use crafters from Refined Storage to just force the craft whenever we need one, or just continue crafting those items. But what I'm thinking is it's probably going to be better just to have every single one of these set up with Laser IO and just make sure we don't ever have that issue by setting up the filters on this to specifically say only keep 2 stacks of said items inside here, and same for all these other recipes, only keep a stack of said items at a time, at any given time, inside of these to create the crafts. I think that is going to be the best way to do this. Unless, is this a filter slot? I was about to say, there's a slot right here. Like, if these items are cooking, what is this slot down here, and how do I specify it? So it is down there, but what goes in the pot here? It's so weird. So yeah, I still think it's going to be the way, the way to go is the way that we're doing it. Yeah, it's weird that it shows this is the recipe. Can I do it while I'm in the thing? No, it says I'm missing a bowl. Apparently. Can I define it? Nope, it doesn't lock a recipe. Is there anything to lock a recipe for this mod? Yeah, no, not really seeing much. I think I'm going to go with my solution, and this is actually going to be kind of cool. Each one of these on top is going to have a node, right? Every single one of these is going to have a node. And what I should be able to do is on the back, we're going to be pulling items out, but I should be able to have a importer feeding, and then up here an importer. I think this will hook up. We're about to test that too, to go ahead and feed. So let's go into the tomato one set up first. So I was testing a few things out and realized that Refined Storage is probably not the best thing to hook up to Laser IO node, because it cannot pull the items out of an extractor. So I'd have to have some sort of buffer chest for it to work. So I decided it'd probably be best just to go ahead and just use an EMC link instead, and we'll save all of the hard processing work when we start putting the things into our crafters from Create. So I'm going to just give everything here using these pipes. I'm just going to have everything flow into the side here like this, and then this is going to provide all of our bowls. So same on this side. All of these are going to be hooked up and just receiving bowls, because I'm almost positive everything here requires a bowl in order to be crafted via this method. Now, thankfully, my method is working with the Laser IO node, which is pretty awesome. So inside of my item card, I have it set to do 120 tomatoes, which is exactly 2 stacks, and it is keeping exactly 2 stacks in here and is not going over that, thanks to the counting filter. Oh my gosh, Laser IO has literally became one of my favorite automation solution mods. It looks a little wacky, but it works, and that's the thing that matters, right? Is the fact that it works. Now I could have used Laser IO for this, but it's a little bit harder to just always place in the cards, like the cards over and over again, where a pipe you can just place. But when it comes to things like this, oh, it's just phenomenal for that. Now, some of these items are going to require processing in order to craft them. So for example, the onions, right? Onions are for some reason not EMCable, even though I think they should be, just like the rice, because it's just so weird that tomatoes are. But yeah, these are not EMCable items. So we have to have these connected to our Refined Storage, and I will have to connect this, connect it up to this. So we will still have to use Refined Storage in this build. It's going to be a little janky, but I'm going to start working one by one. This being the tomato sauce, which is going to be produced here. Also, the tomato sauce gets used as well in another recipe, so we might have to have 2 tomato sauces going. You know what? I am going to go ahead and set up 2. And I also think I'm going to have to set up another one, now that I think about it, for the rice. because we need rice, I think, or do we just need cooked rice? Here's the recipe. I think we just need cooked rice, but cooked rice is used in the steak and potatoes, which I think we have that as one of the things. I think one of these, yeah, fried rice is what requires. No, that doesn't require it. We'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll get there because I've got to get all of these set up. So this is the perfect example, and I wanted to show this because I'm going to need to. Extractor, let's see, or exporter. So we're going to export out of our system here, which is going to be connected to here. Let's actually go ahead and get our drawer network set up. I do need to lock everything. That way we keep everything sort of stationary at the moment. Let's see, this right here, configuration tool. Let's lock all of these drawers so we don't have anything going in just yet until we define it. Make sure these are locked. And then what I'm going to do is shift right click. And then I've got to select all of the drawers I want connected into our drawer network. Perfect. Now, everything's connected. Everything should be good. Now, we should be able to see, let's see, we should be able to see what we have in here. And we do. As you can see, I can see the onions. So, over here, I need to say export onions to the bottom of the barrel. It just seems like a funny thing to say. Yes, because we need onions. And we might have to make some speed upgrades as well for this. So right in here. And we're going to start exporting onions. Yep, perfect. So with that happening, I need to add a card, a laser IO card. Thankfully, I have them on tap now. So there'll be a laser IO card right here. This will be set to export. The thing is down here, we need to first put our filter card and specify our quantities. So for one, we definitely want to make sure that our ingredients are in here appropriately. So I am working on making dumplings. So we need mushrooms on the bottom. It looks like dough, cabbage, onions, and then mushrooms. So dough, cabbage. Let's actually open this up. Dough, cabbage, and onions, and then mushrooms. However, on these, we need to specify a stack only. So there can only be a stack at a time of these ingredients inside of this. Now, also, we need to specify onions in here as well, because this is the same output. And onions. Now, I don't know if it has to be in a very particular order. We might have to organize that in that case. But I should be able to go ahead and say, crank this up. And then that should put the onions in here. Like I said, it may not be in the right order. We'll organize that later because these should be consistent. We're going to use a what is this? A refined EMC link. And then we will say these are the items. And then set this to extract. And hopefully this will be everything we need. About to see if it requires just the very specific items or not. Hopefully it doesn't require it, so it makes automation a little bit easier for me. Once all the items are in there, there it goes. So it's working. So long as I guess you have the items and don't overflow it, looks like this is going to be perfect. Nice. And now we're producing dumplings. So I officially have everything set up in here. And oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a lot. Actually, I have no idea what I was supposed to put in this. Oh, rice. Yes. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot. So I have barrels that are filling with things. I could have used drawers, I guess. But I use drawers for things that require doubles and also areas over here. For example, this requires raw pasta. Let's see. I never actually looked. Raw pasta requires dough, and I don't have that set up. And I actually don't think I need this to make the mince, but I don't need bacon. I might need bacon. So I'm probably going to just add another one of these. So I just need to move this. But yes, I am getting there. slowly but surely. Now, the thing is I've got all these done. I've got all of these organized, right, with the right amounts. The problem is I got to go back through and add the EMC links to the top with all of the appropriate amounts for everything, or the appropriate EMCable items for all of the recipes. So that's going to be fun, and I'll see you in a snap. Now everything is up and running. All the food is cooking, except for a couple of things that require very, very specific things, like all of the stew over here, the tomato stew specifically. So the tomato stew is going to be the thing that we need the most of, unfortunately. So hope we might have to actually make more of these, just specifically tomato stew, stew, right? Yeah, tomato sauce. Sorry, not stew. So at this point, I want to get all of these different foods inside this drawer. So to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and pull out a single stack and start putting that one by one inside of this. Yeah, inside this drawer, one by one. And then once I have that done, I'm going to put all of the extractors on the back, or sorry, importers on the back, and hook it up to the network, and it should put everything in the drawer. So it is quite noisy here, but I now officially have all of this automated. All of the foods that require this are set up. Now, I am seeing the only thing that I am running out of that I'm going to have to make more of is, of course, the tomato stew. But I think I should be able to use the pedestal, potentially, to just speed this one thing up. So right here, hopefully it doesn't affect this, but 1, 2, so basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I go over here and I put the pedestal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it shouldn't affect anything except for this, for the cookers there. So maybe I can get away with that and at least speed it up for now, because that will go fast enough. It shouldn't be affecting this, which is perfect, but it is affecting the stew, and it's not affecting these either. So that might be the ultimate way to do that, and that's filling up so much faster. Yeah, there we go. I hope you guys understand how much I just went through. This was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Like, I've gone through and everything is literally set up and perfect. So I believe next episode, we are going to get down and dirty, and we are going to set up automation for everything else. No joke. We are going to do singularity automation and I believe crafting potentially, all literally next episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to click that beautiful subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next episode. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.